The unsolved mystery remains of a marathon man whose strange disappearance has never been explained. James Burne Worson was a shoemaker who plied his trade in Leamington, Warwickshire, England, running a small shop in one of the byways leading off the road to Warwick. He was also known locally for his athletic prowess, often boasting to his fellow townsfolk of his long-term endurance. He claimed to have several times raced by foot from one town to another in record time. Within his small community, he was deemed an honest man despite a predilection for drink, and when intoxicated, he would often make foolish wagers. On one such occasion, he was bragging of his athletic skills to sceptical friends in the local inn and accepted a challenge to run in record time from Leamington to the town of Coventry. Completing this 20-mile trek would earn him the sovereign bet. Thus, on that 3rd day of September in 1873, he set out at once, accompanied by his 2 friends, Barham Wise, a linen draper, and Hammerson Burns, a photographer by trade. In a festive mood, the 3 travelled together, with Wise and Burns trailing close behind Worson in a horse-drawn gig. For several miles, Worson ran very well, appearing as tireless as he had claimed. He ran with an effortless gait and without apparent fatigue, turning occasionally to exchange friendly banter with his companions. Running down the middle of the dirt road, he really did appear to have great powers of endurance, perhaps even energised by the couple of drinks he had consumed. He was never out of the sight of his friends, who continued to shout words of encouragement. However, suddenly before their eyes, Worson seemed to stumble, pitch headlong forward, and utter a terrible cry. Wise later said that the piercing scream was the most ghastly sound either of them had ever heard. In the very middle of the roadway, not a dozen yards ahead, and with their eyes fixed upon him, the runner had vanished. Strangely, he did not fall to the ground. He disappeared in the middle of his fall without even touching it. No trace of him could be found or was ever discovered after that. Wise and Burns remained near and around the spot for some time, in shock but seeking some kind of sign of what had happened. However, the road itself simply provided evidence of what they had witnessed. The long-distance runner's tracks, clear footprints in the soft earth, faltered and ended as abruptly as if he had taken flight. When the 2 men finally returned to Leamington, a massive hunt began. Searchers combed every inch of the terrain between Leamington and Coventry without success. Bloodhounds used in the search were strangely reluctant to approach the spot where Worson's footprints ended. Having immediately reported their astonishing story to the local constabulary, Wise and Burns were later taken into custody. However, the 2 men were of good standing, had always been considered truthful, and were sober at the time of the occurrence. No contrary evidence was ever found to discredit their sworn account of their extraordinary experience, which never changed or wavered. Public opinion concerning the truth of the phenomenon was nevertheless divided throughout the United Kingdom. People concluded that if the men really had something to conceal, then surely they would have come forward with a more believable explanation for Worson's disappearance. It has to be added that the story of James Worson's disappearance has been outed as a fictional account by American author Ambrose Bierce. However, according to paranormal researchers Blundell and Bohr, for years after Worson's alleged disappearance, there were reported sightings of a ghostly green runner on the empty night road from Leamington to Coventry. Given that urban legends are often based on actual occurrences involving real people, some have also suggested that Bierce's story was inspired by a real-life incident of someone crossing portals to other dimensions, that Worson may have inadvertently time-travelled. Strangely, Ambrose Bierce himself disappeared in mysterious circumstances in 1913 at the age of 71. As with James Worson, neither was any evidence ever found of his ultimate fate.